Good afternoon, baseball fans. It is Monday, May 13th. Not a Friday, thankfully, just a Monday. May feel like a Friday, though. No, it is definitely the start of a week. Hopefully, all of the moms out there had a great Mother's Day. We're going to talk about some baseball, but I am going to give you the rated R warning first. This is a rated R podcast for all of the adult language, not any of the adult other things, just the language, okay? Four-letter words, some inappropriate adult humor, mainly from me, but I have been bringing Kelsey over to the dark side, so maybe some from her as well, but definitely the four-letter words. So if that's not your jam, that is okay. Just skedaddle on out of here. Cover up the youngins' ears if you don't want them to learn the words. But besides that, I've given you the warning, so you can't be mad, all right? I'm Susie. That is Kelsey. This is Bourbon and Baseball, all the balls edition, and away we go. Kels, you went to a baseball game yesterday. Was that delightful?
You know what? It was because the Cardinals broke a 7-game losing streak. So it was either going to be delightful or extra painful. And fortunately, I swung the odds in my favor somehow. I don't know. Maybe it was the tailgating Bloody Marys. Maybe it was my Happy Birthday Lance Lynn sign that I brought into the bleachers at American Family Field. But the vibes were right for once, for one game in the last over a week for the Cardinals. And it more than anything was just absolutely gorgeous day for baseball. It was like
Right.
75 degrees. The roof was open at American Family Field. And they do such a great job with the hospitality and just experience at that stadium. So yeah, it was a great day.
So for those that are not familiar with that field, that is where the Milwaukee Brewers play. And I need to know, is the slide something that normal people can go down, or is that just a thing for the mascots and
Yeah,
special
no,
people?
it's not accessible, at least to my knowledge. There is a knockoff slide, like a smaller slide, like a children's playground slide that you can go on, that is like a replica of it in the stadium. And I'm pretty sure on my way out, I'm actually like just remembering this, that we passed it on my way out. And I was asking my husband and my friend that I was with if there was a weight limit, if I could go on it. I did not. I'm pretty sure they told me you had to be like under 5 years old or something. I was like, oh, maybe it was under 10. I don't know. Either way, I was not fooling anyone. So
Darn, okay.
yeah, didn't get to do that. But yeah, there is like a kid's replica slide experience. As far as I know, that yellow slide that you see in the outfield though on television is not accessible to the average fan.
Interesting. I wonder if it's one of those, if you pay $200, you can go down the slide, or if it's like a perk of being a season ticket holder or something. I don't know. We need to get the Brewers babes on here to
Yeah,
and ask all of these questions. But was that the game that Ollie got tossed in?
it definitely was. Yes. Yep.
And the bench coach? No,
And
someone
yes,
else got tossed.
Daniel Descalzo also got tossed. Yep.
Why?
He was thrown out first. To be honest with you, I really don't know. Like, challenged a call
Okay.
happened. They challenged the call. There was the double play was called, or it was called a double play, but the runner was safe at first, so making it a fielder's choice instead. And they did overturn that call. I don't really know. Like after the call was overturned, that's
Uh-huh.
when I think Daniel Descalzo, the bench coach, was tossed, and then that's when Ollie came out and got all riled up. But he said post game, it seemed like the way that he was talking about post game that he just did it to like get the team fired up.
Get the team fired up. Okay. All right.
I,
Hey,
the one thing that I just love about Ollie Marmol is he gets his money's worth when he gets ejected, and he put on a show. So that was very fun to see.
that I like it. I like it because obviously it worked
It,
because the Cards won. Question though, did they win because they were fired up and they wanted to be like, yeah, Ollie got tossed for us. We're gonna win, or did they win because Ollie was not in the dugout?
I'm not an Ollie Marmol hater. I'm not calling for his head. I'm not calling for his job. I just don't think that he has that much control over the things that are ultimately wrong
Uh
with
huh.
how things are going for the Cardinals the last 2 seasons. And if anything, so Turner Ward, the hitting coach, then managed the rest of the game. And I don't think Turner Ward is any more popular with fans these days on the hitting side of things.
On
So
the hitting. Okay.
no, again, I don't know if Ollie really had anything to do with the game going either way at the end of the day, but I would not say it was because of his absence. No.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Tom, if you are not familiar, Tom is my co-host for the Astros edition of Bourbon and Baseball, and we have both kind of been saying that we need Joe Espada to get tossed and get the boys
Uh,
fired up on our side. And
Low key, right? Like,
he's very low key. And but apparently, in one of the games against the Tigers, I want to say, our bench coach Alex Citron got tossed. And I don't even know why or how because I wasn't actually like watching the game. Like I was just listening to the game and they just briefly mentioned it and then didn't ever mention it again, and I'm all, "Oh,
weird.
okay, I don't know why or how again." But anyways, and so that was one of the things that I was wondering about if it got the boys fired up or if they were just like, "Okay, we'll just go about our business and
Yeah, I do
let's."
think that it was probably frustrations had mounted. I don't again, like, it was a weird scenario when he actually came out and started laying it down and got tossed, but Miles Michaelis threw 49 pitches in the first inning yesterday, and he was getting squeezed hardcore. He is somebody who is all over and around that strike zone, and he walked 3 batters yesterday, which is I don't even think he had walked 3 batters all season yet. So, I think there was already, like, tensions mounting because of that.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it was crazy. He threw 49 pitches in the first inning of the game, and then in the rest of his 5 innings, he threw 46 total through 5 innings.
Okay, all right. Then let's go ahead and stay with the Cardinals because there is an issue that I wanted to talk with you about. Unfortunately, the most hittingest
Yeah,
guy on your team, Wilson Contreras, is unfortunately on the IL. If you guys aren't aware, Wilson Contreras, in order to steal strikes from the bottom of the zone, moved very close up to the batter being JD Martinez. And JD Martinez legitimately hit Wilson Contreras' forearm. Not on purpose. It wasn't on the backswing. It was on the front swing. The league is saying that the catcher's interference calls are up dramatically because of this reason of trying to move up into the catcher's box and then with batters moving as far back as they can in order to catch up with velocity and all that fun stuff. There are a lot more of these things. And I heard in the press conference, Wilson obviously not blaming the Cardinals at all. Like he knew the risks of this.
right.
But the fact that it could have been avoided, maybe a little bit, because apparently JD Martinez is one of those guys that stands all the way in the back of the box,
Right.
almost so far as to maybe I saw like an aerial view of where the thing was, and I'm all, is he even is he really even in the box, or is he like one step behind the box, farther than because those lines back there get blurry.
Yeah.
It's chalk, it's dust. I'm all, is he even farther back than he's supposed to be? I didn't. I'm not saying obviously JD Martinez is doing anything nefarious, but the two worlds collided, and Wilson Contreras' forearm, unfortunately, was the not the benefactor, the opposite of benefactor. What word am I looking for?
It was the sacrifice.
There we
It
go.
was yeah.
Now he is out for 10 weeks?
Yeah, I think he initially was saying, like, 6 to 8 weeks in the post game, but he had surgery, and, yeah, when he was saying 6 to 8 weeks, I was it's a fractured forearm, baby. You're not getting back in 6 weeks, but you might be out of a cast in 6 weeks if you're lucky and starting to resume baseball activities. So, yeah, estimated about 10 weeks. The goal is hopefully we see him back around the All-Star break. But huge hit for the Cardinals, whose offense is massively struggling, and the only player who is consistently not struggling offensively is Wilson Contreras. And not only that, but he's very much like a high on vibes guy. He leads with his energy and has made a
Right,
huge difference working with the catchers and the adjustments that he's made. And to your point, yeah, he has been very open about that is something that he's taken on, and there's a risks that is assumed with that. But I don't know if you saw, they asked his brother, William Contreras, who is the catcher for the Brewers, if he would be more cognizant of not being up as close since this has happened. And Williams said, absolutely not. No, this is the risk that I assume to give my team this competitive edge. And I think ultimately, like, especially with guys like that, catchers are
right.
just like,
They're a whole different breed anyways.
they
Yeah.
are. Yeah. And I think that's the thing is it's a risk that they are willing to assume because of the level of competitive edge that it does give them. So I get it. It sucks. And the other thing that sucks most about it is that if we go to the automated strike zone, which we could definitely see here in the next few
Right.
years, it won't matter. Like framing is obsolete. So this something that they're like working really hard at and putting themselves at risk for now could quite literally just not be a thing ever again in the next very near foreseeable future.
That's been a questionable thing for us as well because Yainer Diaz has gotten, I wanna say 3 or 4 catcher's interferences this season, and we just talked to I say we, not me, 'cause my catcher, I know, that's not he's fine. Other people are like, "Oh, that's his inexperience and because he's not been a full-time catcher," and I'm all, "No, I'm pretty sure it's because he's so far up in the box
Yeah.
trying to, like."
For the Dodgers, who again,
Yeah,
plenty experience, and he's had a good number. He had 2 of them in 1 game, I think, the Cardinals. Yeah, the catcher's interference overall throughout league-wide has been increasing for sure, as this is like a trend of competitive edge that coaches and players have uncovered. And yeah, it's tricky because specifically with a pitching staff like the Cardinals, who are, like I said, Miles Michaelis is like they are very like in and around strike zone heavy pitchers. They rely on soft contact and ground ball outs. Like they need to steal those strikes. I do
right.
think the main reason that they will say, yeah, no, I have to do it is because they really do believe it makes that kind of a difference.
Yeah, and the framing numbers in and of themselves are a little they're, like, so weird and strange that people like, coaching staffs would rather steal the strikes if you steal, like, 6 strikes or something. It equals, like, a run or something like that, and I'm all, "That's crazy." I don't think those are the actual numbers, so no one quote me on that, but essentially, that's how high of an importance coaching staffs have on stealing strikes, and I'm all, "Oh, I wasn't aware. Alright." But to your point with the whole automatic strike zone and all that fun stuff, I'm all, "Bring me that immediately, immediately."
Yeah.
I maybe don't want the automatic balls and strikes. I think I want the challenge system.
Yeah.
Give me the challenge system. I think it's a nice balance between the 2 because I still want the umpire back there, but there's gotta be some sort of system in place for them to be like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's a strike. Oh, yeah, no, that's a ball.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
At least
Let's bring that sooner."
well,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this when I went to the Iron Pigs game, AAA, a month or a couple months ago. They are doing that. Obviously, they're piloting it in the minor leagues. And yeah, it works super well. It does not disrupt the flow of the game at all because they have it down to just such science, like very efficient. And the other thing that I think is cool about it that I hadn't really anticipated is that the crowd gets super into it and it makes people like pay attention more and
Mhm.
want to the same way that like when we challenge calls of runners out, like everybody is just zoned in on
Yep.
or call pitch to pitch on those calls. And that's cool. I think that's good for the game.
Yeah. When JV was rehabbing, we went to the Sugarland Space Cowboys game, and he did it. And there was a ball, I'd say probably 2 inches out of the zone that the umpire called a strike immediately. Tap on the head, does the thing, goes on the board, and it was a 3rd strike excuse me, it was a 3rd ball, 4th ball to load the bases. And in that in and of itself, that change totally changed the direction of the game.
Yeah.
And so that guy was out, and then I think JV went on to get a ground ball out to get out of the inning or something like that. But as opposed to having the bases loaded and then having to just go in a totally different direction with the pitching plan because bases are loaded, guys gotta come in, blah, blah, blah. And so just that one little decision, Emma. See what you did, ump? Did you see? This is what we're talking about here. And we see it in games now where you see the hitters that you know are disciplined and get a call outside the zone.
Yeah.
And they're like, shit, now I gotta cover that. And then the 3rd pitch, they're swinging out of their shoes, and you're like, you did that. Umpire, that's on you. That's on you because you totally changed the timber of this at bat. I don't bring me the automatic challenge system immediately. Anyhow, but we move on from Wilson Contreras. Is Nolan Arenado picking it up?
Yeah, he's hanging in.
Yes, kind
He's
of.
all right. He's still not back to like vintage Natto like form, but overall he just looks a lot more comfortable and settled in. And again, at the plate, he's making good contact. And the pop-ups are the thing. He's a pop-up guy. That's we gotta see less pop-ups, but that I think is coming from him trying to be aggressive in the way that they desperately need him to. And if I think at this point, if the rest of the lineup was not putting so much pressure on every single guy just to do anything, I think
Right.
that's the pressure that just needs to come off for him to settle back into the Arenado form that we are used to seeing. But yeah,
And Goldie got a couple of hits yesterday. Yes.
Goldie, okay, the last out of on Saturday night game, the Cardinals lost 5-3, but in the last inning, Lars Nootbaar walked to get on base, so the tying run was at the plate, and it was Paul Goldschmidt, and I was just like, when Nootbaar was up, he takes a lot of walks, he has great pitch recognition, and I had a feeling like that he was gonna get on base, but I was like, "Man, I would rather him make the out than I cannot
Right.
Paul Goldschmidt make the last out of this game when, like, he could tie the game." And he had struck out 4 times in his 4 at bats, and it's all the national broadcast was talking about was
Right.
his struggles. And I just and he came up and they were like, "He has never in his career struck out 5 times in a game." And I'm like, "I need you to stop this right now." I mean, he got the hit. It was just like I don't even care. I don't care if they win. I'm just so glad that Goldie did not make the last out, and then he got on base, and you could tell he got over to Stubby Clapp, the first base coach, and he like a wave of relief, and it literally looked like he was almost like welling up, like he had been over 32 before that hit, so he had yet to get a hit in the month of May. So I'm just glad that happened. He hit the ball really hard, and then yes, yesterday he had a home run to get the Cardinals on the board, and then he ultimately had the game tying RBI as well in the next inning. So
Oh, yay.
this
Now, did
was
he get moved down at all in the lineup?
he did temporarily, but he is back. They gave him a couple days off, and
Okay.
he's back in the 3 spot.
Okay. Because I noticed that he was not in the lineup for a couple of days. I wonder if those are just days off or if there's like a nagging injury, but makes sense. It makes sense. We obviously share the frustrations of an aging first baseman, although it's looking like it's going to turn around for Goldie. Fingers crossed for y'all. Jose Abreu is still down in the Florida combo complex league, and I need y'all to realize something, that he is not in our AAA system. I've heard some bigger podcasts say that Jose Abreu is in our minor league. He's not playing with the Sugarland Smith Cowboys. He's
Yeah.
not. Corpus Christi Hooks, Fayetteville, or excuse me, Asheville Tourists, like, not he's in our Florida Complex League, like, legitimately on the backfields. He's not there's no games being played for, like, him, nothing. So, I needed that to be out there, that information to be out there and, like, correct, because there has been a couple of, like, bigger podcasts that are like, "And Jose Abreu's in their minor league system, just play animal." That's not what that is. John Singleton, however, is doing fairly well for, our quote, unquote, "first baseman," backup first baseman, and I think he's gonna stick there for a little while. With Paul Goldschmidt, this guy on our team. I need to get his shit together. Alex Alexander David Bregman, I'm looking at you, sir. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But I'm gonna turn our attention to another prospect that got called up. This was like all the rage. I have never in my, I don't know, 6 years of baseball fandom had this much heard this much fanfare over a pitching prospect.
Yeah.
And I was very shocked and surprised. And I was not gonna lie, a little disappointed. Paul Fiends for the Pittsburgh Pirates got called up, and I wanna say maybe it was Baseball's Dead. Someone I think it was Baseball's Dead. Someone was saying that Paul Fiends is not gonna get called up until Livy Dunn gets out of school. LSU still,
Mhm.
because she's a gymnast for LSU, and she just got done with classes. LSU just got done with classes, and I was like, "Shut up. He's right? Oh my god." So they, like, was trying to turn it into, I don't know, like a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing? I don't even know if that's
There
actually a
was
thing.
vibes going on there. Yeah.
But there's some major marketing going on, and MLB would be dumb not to take advantage of the stardom, but the what did you think of his overall performance in that game?
I thought it could easily have gone worse in the sense that, like, the just immense amount of pressure that was on him. And obviously, he has an elite skill set, but he's 21 years old and he also has been traveling to get to Pittsburgh. And then that stadium was unlike I've ever heard it before, which is really cool and exciting. But being able to channel that and harness your emotions and just go out and perform is something that you can only really get good at by doing it. And the fact that he'd
Right.
never been able to, this is his, first major league start. And I'm sure that there was a lot of excitement around him in AAA, but nothing like this. So just having that amount of pressure around him, I thought he handled it well. It could have been a lot worse. And all things considered, like we saw that his stuff more than plays overall
Mhm.
against major league hitters. And I think as he gets the reps and get the experience, we'll see him settle in and be able to leverage it more than his stat line turned out in this first start.
Yeah, it was interesting, and the fact that the Pirates almost lost it, like, 43 different times, I'm all,
Yeah.
"Oh god." I'm like, "Really? Y'all are really just not trying to give Paul Skeens his first win?" It cracked me up. If you guys were not aware, apparently, he was on a pitch limit, and he had did he give I wanna say he gave up a single and then a walk to knock him out of the game.
Yeah, he had some action on the base, too much traffic on the bases, and he was getting close to that pitch count. So it was just time to get him out of there.
Right,
And the
okay.
storm coming also. So
The storm before coming. So, but I wanna say that he gave up a hit and then walked a guy. Was it the 6th inning? It was the top of the 6th, wasn't it? 5th, okay.
he didn't get
And so, then the next reliever came in, and I'm so sorry that I do not remember that, who it was, but when he left the game, it was like 6-1.
yeah.
When Paul Skeens left the mound, it was 6-1 with 2 runners on. The next reliever for the Pirates comes in, gives up 3 walks, and then an infield single. And I'm all, "What is happening right now?" And I wasn't actually able to watch the game because I was watching other games, so I was just listening in and
Mhm.
to the radio. But then they had the rain delay for 2 hours, and then the next guy after that came in and walked the I was like, "Holy crap." I felt really bad. But they Pirates ended up winning it with 1 run, but I think that the final score was like 10-9 or something, right?
Yep. 10-9. Yeah, that was definitely one of those games where, like, the Pirates were, like, yeah, basically just asking the Cubs to win. They were just really trying to give it to them, but didn't happen. And I'm sure that the excitement of that crowd, hopefully a lot of them, I think a lot of them stuck around through that rain delay because of just the excitement around
Right.
Alpine's Day, and I'm sure that helped them ultimately pull it out too.
If they get any sort of, like, actual core offense behind Cruz, there's gonna be a good little Buccos staff over there between Skeens and Jared Jones, and I
Yeah.
wanna say there's another guy, Bubba something, coming up.
Mhm. I'm not
They're
sure
gonna have a
Mitch Keller, he's not been super consistent as of late, but he is and he will be. So
yeah.
yeah, all of a sudden you're like, oh, the
You're
Pirates.
like, "Oh, alright. Pirates have a pitching staff. Alright." So, I was excited for him. He got, what, 7 strikeouts
Mhm.
over 5 innings. That's not a bad day's work. And apparently, the last couple of starts for the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA team, they were like, "What else are we waiting on Paul Skeens for?" And their manager had told Paul Skeens, "Hey, what I need you to do is I need you to get, like, more efficient because we know that you can strike out the world. It's gonna take you a little bit more. Can you try and get, like, the ground ball out or, like, a pop let's try that." Paul Skeens said, "Okay, let's try that." And he, like, created his own little blinker. They call it a splinker because he
Mhm.
holds it like a splitter, but then does something else. And I'm all, I need to learn all the pitching things and, like, how they move by where their fingers are on the seams, and then it affect 'em all. Physics, man.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Sounds
Anyhow, but
neat.
yeah, so he's got the fastball that's obviously very fast, and then this splinker that will just basically get you off of all of the other things, and I'm all, "That's insane." So, Paul Skeens, congrats. I'm excited to watch where they go from here on out. I unfortunately did not pick him up in my fantasy league. I'm still on the Jared Jones train. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. But did you see the parade that happened in California?
No.
In San Diego? You didn't see the parade that happened in San Diego?
Was it a legit parade or was it just the 46,000 plus at Petco Park getting in and out of the
Oh,
stadium?
it was I don't think it was 46,000 people in the streets, but it was quite a few Dodgers fans legitimately parading through the San Diego streets.
Ooh.
Banners and all, walking in the streets of San Diego,
Well,
and it really cracked me up because from the Dodger fans that I know, they're like, "Yeah, no, San Diego, that's not a rivalry. We don't consider it a rivalry. San Diego considers it a rivalry for us, but that's not our rival." It sure seemed that way when you are legitimately in the streets of San Diego and parading around. And I'm not gonna lie, I got excited that the Padres took that series from the Dodgers. I was very excited.
me too.
I was very excited that Michael King shoved, and it was like literally like pitch for pitch between like him and Tyler Glasnow. So, wow. All right, there you go. And then even like Matt Waldron, the knuckleballer, did awesome mostly until he didn't, and then Teoscar and Hernandez hit a grand slam, and I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. But I mean,
Noel Hernandez, he's probably my favorite Dodger. So if it had to be somebody, I'm glad it was him.
yeah, that's true. I would have rather it been Shohei because then I would have gotten the points on my fantasy team. Whatever, that's fine. Whatever. I Do you think that Mookie Betts is going to win some sort of award for his defense at his various positions? That's my next question.
Is he still playing shortstop every day or is he playing other positions now as well?
He's playing other positions. So they've moved him from shortstop, like Mickey Rowe is playing shortstop for a couple of days, then they'll move him to second, then they'll move him to out. Like it's a whole thing now. And so I'm like, oh, all right. Even though Mookie's been on the list of like best shortstop and like best second baseman, I'm all, how is that a thing? There's that, whatever.
Yeah,
So
so
now I need to know.
he's gonna get that utility gold glove, right? People wanted him to win it last year. And I, of course, was so sure that he definitely did not deserve it over Tommy Edman. He didn't deserve it over Jose Kim either, but I'm still salty about that one. But yeah,
Is
everybody,
Tommy Edman coming back?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Oh,
Let's not talk
oh
about
no. Okay.
it. But I don't know. There is something that makes me like less excited about Mookie Betts' defense. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just he's so hyped that I am over it. That might be it.
Maybe. It's the Dodgers, so it's whatever.
Also, that
Um,
he didn't play for the Dodgers. I probably
that's okay. Let's be honest. The only reason I am have any interest in the Dodgers is because of my fantasy team. And if I didn't have any Dodgers on my fantasy team, I'd probably not care. So did I tell you that I have a bet going with a couple of Dodgers friends that Yainer Diaz will have better numbers at the end of the year than Will Smith?
ooh, that's a good one.
So we'll see. We'll see if that actually like pans out or whatnot. I have high hopes. I have high hopes for Yainer. I think he's gonna pull a rabbit out of his hat or something. But have you paid attention to Andy Pajes out in the outfield?
You know what? Not much this week. What we talked about him last week. He's still out there doing
Still
his
out there doing the damn thing and just driving in runs, and you're like, "All right, Andy Pajes, like, get you some." I'm all the way bought in. all the way
There was
all the way
another
bottom
on
10.
those lists of early rookie of the year contenders, and he was not on there, and I was
He wasn't?
surprised.
Really? I will have to look on that. They don't know. That's why. Not known ball knowers. The Toronto Canadian customs people are not known ball knowers either. Like, they wouldn't know that the Twins need their summer sausage to get through customs?
Well,
What is it?
yeah, we could make an exception to the law for some things, like summer sausage.
I don't think I heard about this story. What is this story?
I just saw that, yeah, that they were worried that Canadian customs would confiscate the summer sausage if they tried to bring it just to Toronto. I could not find what they ended up actually doing. So did they get a, uh, you know, semi-permanent sausage? Do you like Canadian ones used there across the border?
I
I'm trying to look it up here and see if I can find it out, but
I I don't actually know because I did see Carlos Santana after he's heating up and he's hitting the home runs. I saw people slinging meat his way, so I don't
yes.
know if it's the same.
This is from Dan Hayes, who is the Twins writer for The Athletic. And he is the one that shared that they were concerned that Canadian customs get summer sausage. Alternative is buying a temporary sausage there. Fun fact, Toronto is nicknamed Hogtown because it used to be a mass production pork site in the 19th and 20th centuries. So they probably would have a good sausage alternative there. At least.
Oh, alright, but is it the sausage that is containing the hits, though? That's really the so if they bought a new sausage, like, that's not that the new sausage doesn't contain the hits. I don't know. Twins fans, if you're out there, let us know what happened because, like I
Yeah.
said, I was only interested to see what Edouard Julien and Willie Castro was doing, so anything beyond that. Max Kepler came back, and then all of a sudden they started going. They're like, "Max Kepler, you are the straw that stirs the drink, apparently, because Royce Lewis is still hurt." So they're
Mm-hmm.
doing all of this without Royce Lewis and Buxton.
Yeah.
So, good on you, Twins, Minnesota. So do you I guess then therein lies my other question because the White Sox just took a series from the Guardians. Who do you think is gonna come out on top in that division?
The of the White Sox or the Guardians?
No, no, sorry,
Anyone.
between the Guardians and the Twins.
Oh. Hmm.
Because we all don't get me wrong, Tommy Pham, you are a miracle worker. I just don't think that you're gonna bring the White Sox all the way back, but considering that they beat the Guardians and Twins are literally neck and neck.
They are.
They're
Twins are just a half
half a
game back.
Twins yeah, Twins are half game back.
But so are the Royals.
Oh, yeah.
There's our Royals. Yeah, I don't know. I think this AL Central Division stays really tight and competitive until the last few days of the season. That's the most I feel comfortable predicting. I think
Okay,
like
interesting. Alright, Gardos, I I'm not saying that you need something fun, but I'm just saying you don't have a summer sausage story. They did just debut their City Connects, though. How do you feel about those?
the
Have you
Tigers.
seen those?
Yeah, the
No,
Tigers.
no, the Cleveland Guardians City
Yeah.
Connects.
I haven't seen them. Let me see if I can picture.
They're that unremarkable. I just need you to know, like,
My husband is from Cleveland, so I'm surprised I missed these.
they are unremarkable.
Oh,
I It's not anything to write home about.
yeah.
I don't have strong feelings either way. It's
Yeah.
one of those where you're like,
It's just really
"What?"
basic. Yeah.
Exactly, and I was like, "Alri" At first, I thought the design, like, the pattern behind the on the jersey,
Uh,
it almost looked like crushed velvet to me, and I'm like, at no point in time do I think that these baseball players are running out in crushed velvet, like, jerseys, but
yeah.
I need to know what this is, and I had to zoom in really far to see that there was an actual, like, pattern on there to make it look like that,
Yeah.
like the crushed velvet, and I was all,
And then when you zoom in, it looks like it might be like the snake skin batter, which
something
is
I don't know. They're very and I guess they got leaked somehow. I I needed to look into this before we started recording, but then I forgot, and so I was like, "Oh, alright," but then the fact that they just are very unremarkable. I don't
yeah.
hate them. I don't love them, but I don't hate them,
They,
but
they look like a Team USA World Baseball Classic jersey.
yeah.
Honestly. And yeah, the whatever sheen or pattern is on the jersey is unique, but it's not like obvious enough to make it super special.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Cleveland Guardian fans, if you're out there, let me know what you guys think. I don't know. And tell me the story about it because I don't know the story.
Yeah.
All of the other ones have a story with it, and that kind of tells about Cleveland or that kind of tells about the entire city. And I don't know. I didn't hear anything. Anyhow, but yeah, so the White Sox take a series from the Guardians. And when I say that I need Tommy Pham immediately, I need Tommy Pham immediately because Tommy Pham is doing all the things. The winning did not start happening until Tommy Pham got to the White Sox. So, White Sox fans, are you just so excited that you guys won against the Guardians? I was a little excited for them.
Yes, you were. You were texting me about it. And Cardinals fans aren't that excited about it because Tommy Pham and Paul DeYoung of the White Sox would be the best hitters on the Cardinals right now. So that hurts. But I am going to a White Sox game tomorrow night. They're playing the Nationals. Oh, and I'm going to get, you know what? I'll have a review for you next week, I'm gonna get that campfire milkshake to give it a go.
Ooh, and all of the 40,000 milligrams of sugar, grams
Maybe
of sugar?
approximately 2.5 sips of it, and
Okay.
yeah, like, that's going to be all of my caloric
Are
intake.
you gonna get one of those pullovers, though? One of the 20,000 pullovers,
I
the
assume
quarter
they're
zips?
still waiting for the 20,000th fan to walk in since they did that giveaway, so, yeah, wait to see. Yeah.
Okay, alright. I'll be waiting here with bated breath. So, also, things around the league that you don't think you're going to hear, but you do, because that's baseball. The Rockies swept the Rangers. They swept them in Coors Field. I was expecting Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien to hit 4,003 home runs.
Same. Not so much.
Nope.
Brenton
Rockies said,
Doyle,
"Nah,
that 40-man fine, he's hitting home runs.
absolutely. Absolutely." I also was, like, looking at the stats because, again, when you hear the Rockies, A, just beat the Rangers, I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah,
And then you hear them that they beat them twice, and I'm "Alright, Rockies." And then I was looking at the stats, and Brenton Doyle, excuse me, Ryan McMahon, their 3rd baseman, went, like, 4 for 5, was like, a home run and a double, and I'm all, can only imagine what a 3rd baseman going 4 for 5 would do for a team. Alexander David Bregman, I'm looking at you again. They're doing the damn thing. They're doing the damn thing, and we just needed to give the Chicago White Sox and the Colorado Rockies their shine because not many people will.
we don't
Not many,
I could say about him.
but known ball knowers, we're gonna. We're gonna. But also, how long do you think Ipe actually stays in prison?
I don't know. There obviously, the fact that he pleaded guilty, I'm sure he knew exactly what he was getting in line for when he made that plea. I'm sure there was some sort of plea bargain. But yeah, I think what he could face up to 33 years imprisonment and fines of $1.25 million. But in exchange for his plea, prosecutors will recommend a reduced sentence. But reduced from 33 years, that
I
could
don't.
be over well over 20 years, I would think. I can't imagine it's going to be that much, but he's definitely got to do time, right? Like he has to.
I don't know. I don't know. I've watched too many like crime dramas though, and so I don't actually know what is reality and what is not. Because in my head, I'm pretty sure that they probably want some sort of like bigger fish, and so depending on what Ipe knows, maybe
Mhm.
they'll turn that into a give us all of the information, and then we'll reduce your sentence even more, or I don't know, put you on house arrest with a ankle monitor.
Yeah, that's a good alternative.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see if he does actually do any sort of time, or if it's just house arrest and blah blah blah. So, but let's move on to a couple of other news and notes, and I'm going to call this segment "Guys that need to get their shit together."
All right.
That's what we're going to call
Like
this.
it is.
That's what we're going to call this segment. Guys who need to get their shit together. And we're going to start off this list with Alexander David Bregman. If you already haven't been aware of how poorly Alexander David Bregman, 3rd baseman for the Houston Astros, have been playing, he is absolutely horrid. And when I say absolutely horrid, you guys have heard how much I wanted Martin Maldonado off of my team last season because he had the 125 OPS, excuse me, 125 batting average with a negative OPS plus. Alexander Bregman, who normally is a very above average player, very good player. Most people want him on their team. This motherfucker has a 57 OPS plus. A 57. Got moved down in the lineup. Got moved all the way to 6th in the lineup when he had never gone past the 4. Negative zero point 0.4 WAR. And unlike the other guys have struggled offensively, the defense has still been there. So the fact that he's only accrued
Yeah.
negative zero point 0.4 WAR. And when I say that he has killed legitimately all of the rallies, he has killed all of them. Not all of them. Our big man, Jordan, has not done well with runners in scoring position either. But this guy, Alex Bregman, I'm looking at you. You need to get your shit together. You need to get your shit together and maybe stop making commercials of you, not of you, but of your company putting salsa on ice cream.
Mm,
That's why. That's why you're doing so poorly. All right. I'm gonna call it right now. Like at no point in time does anyone want your fucking mango habanero salsa on their ice cream. Stop doing that. Stop doing it.
not good. Not good.
Okay.
You know what else is not good is he is in his free agent year. He certainly has the motivation to turn it
You
around.
would
So
think.
we're hoping.
You would think. And he is. He's a slow starter. All of the words, fine. It's never been this bad. It has never been this bad. He's looked a little bit better the last couple of days, talking about the pop-ups earlier. All of the pop-ups. He's not a guy that normally gets pop-ups. He's normally working at bats. He's known for his 11, 12 pitch at bats and then, like, drawing a walk. No, that's not this guy. Another guy who has already gotten his bag, unfortunately, though, needs to get his shit together. Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, man.
I was not aware that Xander Bogaerts is playing as poorly as he was. Over the season, he has a 66 OPS plus
Yeah.
with a 301 slug. What's happening,
No wonder they're
Bogey?
bringing over Luis Ariz. That was actually the thing that got Xander Bogaerts on my radar of how poor of a season he's having is when all the Padres fans were like, when they traded for Luis Ariz and all the Padres fans were like, "Oh, this means that Bogaerts is getting benched." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
You're like, "Why do you want Bogaerts to be benched?"
Now I see.
Because yeah, because he's not been great for them. He's not been great for them, and after signing him through 2033 and paying him $280 million, you would expect a little bit different, but maybe I wouldn't think moving him from short to second would fuck with his ability to, I don't know, swing a bat, maybe?
Mentally, because we talked about how when they made that announcement, like he clearly wasn't thrilled about it. And I don't know. I guess I could see where it could mess with his like mental game or the way that he feels like the team values him overall.
If you're on the YouTubes, my cat, Jose Altuve Kyle Tucker, has joined the conversation and is just to tell you his opinion on the baseballs. But okay, so Xander Bogaerts is 31.
Mhm.
Alexander David Bregman is 30.
Mm.
So maybe it's just the cliff. It's the cliff of the 30s. I don't know.
That must be
I
it.
say that. There's still many a great player that are in their 30s not playing like this. Another guy who we have referenced before, but that is getting locked back in because he hit 4,003 home runs against the Astros. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is getting locked back in. Aaron Judge is getting locked back in. He's up to 10 home runs now. Ah,
He's like, "How dare you talk about Aaron Judge in my presence?"
listen, I didn't want to talk about Aaron Judge either, JT, okay, but I had to. If you are on the YouTubes, you will have seen my cat just try and make it onto our safe and did not make it, and just scared the bejesus out of me. Anyhow, I don't even know where he is. Anyhow, but Aaron Judge is now rocking a 145 OPS plus, which is much better than his, what, like 57 that he was rocking a couple weeks ago when we talked.
Mhm.
So he's got that slug almost to 500. He's got that OPS up to an 866, 27 RBIs. So we're getting back up there, getting back up there. Yankees fans, I know you're thrilled.
He's not
If
washed.
it's if Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Big G get hot at all at the same time, good God, it's over. It's over. Is it though? I don't know. Like I know what which lineup I would want. But does like the casual fan, like if the casual fan, if I were to tell you, hey, would you rather have the New York Yankee lineup or the Baltimore Oriole lineup?
Mhm.
Which lineup would you want? I feel like the casual fan would be like, "Give me the Yankees." But, like, the people that know ball would be like, "Bring me the Orioles."
Yep, that's a good call out there. I agree. Opposite approaches of building a lineup slash team. Their roster makeup is just completely opposite, but
Yeah.
they are both playing the same level of competitiveness right now. So it is interesting to look at them side by side. But I don't know. I just think there's more chance. There's a better chance for consistency with the Orioles lineup, which is why I would take them every day of the week.
I think you would be correct, and the fact that their, like, depth is even depthier,
Okay.
deeper, although I think I may start using the word depthier because that's just is fun. Did you see that someone else from the Orioles AAA system is going to be
Yes, Kyle Stowers, right?
yeah, I was like, "Where are you gonna play?" Jordan Westbrook has been doing it. Colton Cowser has cooled off a little bit, but not I wouldn't think that far to bench him, though. But I wanna say maybe I think I just saw Hayes go on the IL, so maybe that's what.
Mhm. Probably. Yeah.
But yeah, alright. Baltimore Orioles just calling up all of the peoples. Did you see, though, what Jackson Holiday has done in Bullet?
I just know he's struggling down there as well. Unfortunately, what did they do to him?
I'm like, "Did they break you? Did they break you, Jackson Holiday?" Because I feel like maybe they broke you a little bit. Like, mentally, maybe.
Yeah, just shook him up too hard. I don't know.
Because the numbers have not been great in the minors since he's gone back down, and I don't know why. I wanna say he was, like, 1 for 25 or something since he's gone back down? I'm like, "Let me look this up. I gotta" it's not been great. Let's see here. Give me I want minor league numbers. I would love the minor league numbers, thank you. He has 24 let's see, 24 games. Oh, you're not gonna tell me the last 5 though, are you? Not in the minors. Just kidding. Okay, well, I'm not gonna tell you that. I was gonna say that I will tell you the last 5 games in the minor leagues, but I don't think I can. Can I? Maybe? Oh, hold on. Hey, there we go. Okay, so the last 5 games, he has gone, let's see, 1 for 5 with 2 strikeouts on the 12th, 1 for 4, 1 for 5 on the 10th with 2 strikeouts. He walked once. 2 for 5 with 3 walks on the 9th. The last home run that he hit was on the 8th. Strikeouts, though, look up there. Not great numbers for Jackson Holiday. Obviously, apparently he needs a little bit more work. Not and maybe this is what they needed to see from him, how he handles not being the best. Because I feel like literally at every baseball thing that he's ever tried, he's always been the best.
Yep.
There's never been any sort of blockade for Jackson Holiday. He's always just been, like, the best guy, and it never you not saying that he never had to work for it, because obviously baseball's hard, you gotta do good things.
Totally. Yeah, I've seen
Um,
just in the performing industry, like, I have known singers and performers who were like that. They just were always getting every lead, all growing up in, like, regional area theater and in college and everything, and then they get out to the real world, and they can't hack it because they just have not there's no way you can emulate what that is gonna be like and be able to teach yourself how to deal with it. It's the same thing even, like, school was, like, super easy for me until basically I got to high school, and then I was like, "I should not have to try," and I had so
right.
many habits, and I didn't know how to try and like, actually have to work to learn
Yeah,
things.
you didn't know how to study because everything came so easy, you're like,
Yeah,
"Wait,
so
what do you
I
mean study?
I
I don't know what that is."
being a factor for him.
Yeah, so it looks like in the last 7 days, he has 8 runs, 8 hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 7 walks, and 4 strikeout for an OPS of 958. Excuse me, 978. I can read. An on base of 500 and a batting average of 348. Last week, doing some good things. Last month, that averages out a little bit to a 707 OPS, which is not horrible. It's not the greatest. Assuming that they want better numbers out of him. So, I don't think you'll see Jackson Holiday on the Orioles anytime soon. And if you do, something major has happened to the Baltimore Orioles
Yep.
lineup.
You don't need him.
Yeah,
You don't need to put any additional pressure on it, which is
and 'cause he's 20 people, just 20.
what's best for him at this point.
There have been some other guys, though, that have been younger players doing some really good things, though. Joey Loperfido for the Houston Astros has come up and hasn't shined, but hasn't sucked either. He's not been like this gaping black hole. Um, I know that there has been some talk about Jackson Churio for the Brewers, not performing as well as they had hoped. Joey Loperfido came up. He is 25, by the way, so I say like young in the fact that he's a rookie. Came up and he has a 112 OPS plus. He's got an OBP of 367, a 357 slug. He's gotten some singles. He's like mainly singles. I think he hit couple of doubles the other day. Hasn't gotten his first home run hit though, but at this point in time, I'm all getting on base, passing the baton. Let let's keep doing that because that's part of the Houston Astros is the problem. But Jackson Churio, one of the other Jacksons out of that trio of young Jacksons, and has a 70 OPS plus.
Mm. I'm sitting right behind him yesterday.
What I had heard that while they weren't happy with the bat, that the defense apparently was not great either. Though it was like affecting the defense. Was did you see some of that too?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from him really, like, he hasn't
Uh huh.
been super high on my radar, but I did feel that way, especially from the perspective that I had of being directly behind him out there.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, a 214 batting average with 262 OBP, 333 slug for an OPS of 595. And if you'll remember, Jackson Churio is the guy that they gave a 8-year, $82 million contract too before he came up. I don't know. It's yeah, though, he's like 20. I don't know what people are really expecting from these super young people, young guys coming up, and you're all throwing them into this
That's
position. You're like, "Oh,
there's
alright."
going to be some level or period of adjustment, and it's rough. It's always rough. Where there is not really one guy who just seamlessly makes the transition, and the expectations around them make it seem worse than it is too. But another perspective that I thought was really interesting was Ken Rosenthal said that he was talking with Matt Carpenter about this. Matt Carpenter, our veteran leadership king, about how there seems to be this kind of gap in a wider gap in adjustment periods for hitters specifically coming from AAA to the bigs, and how it just seems like that gap is wider than it has been, or it's taking more of an adjustment period, more disappointments than not,
Mhm.
those types of players. And Matt Carpenter pointed out that he thinks one of the big variables there is that since the pandemic shortened season, or they canceled the season in 2020, but when they came back to play in 2021 and they were still dealing with travel limitations and stuff, they do 6 game series in the minor league now. So the hitters are seeing the entire pitching staffs at least once and then some. They're like seeing these pitchers twice during the
Yeah. Oh, and then they would see the relievers all of the time.
all the time. Yes. That just made so much sense to me too, because the Cardinals, like nothing is more Cardinals offense than getting shut out by a guy in his major league debut because they haven't seen him before and there's not a lot of tape on him. And when you think about it that way, you're like, yeah, these hitters, you know, it's ridiculously hard to hit to make contact. But the one biggest advantage you can have is watching the tape, being
Mhm.
able to make adjustments from what you see the first and second time. And so they're able to see them and read them more and get comfortable with just not as many pitchers who are also
Right.
pitching at the level that the guys in the big leagues are. So, and that is something that again has been just very much in the last 2 or 3 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is part of this kind of lapse in adjustment that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think that and coupled with the fact that you like you mentioned, the pitching is if you're a good pitcher, you're gonna be shot through the ranks. So
Especially
not
right
all of the good pitching, quote unquote, is going you're not gonna see him at AAA, AA, whatnot. And so that also would make sense. Another one of the young guys though, one of the out of the 3 Jacksons, Jackson Merrill, hashtag Merrill Madness of the San Diego Padres, is doing relatively well. I say relatively well. He is your average MLB player. He's got a 107 OPS plus, but considering that he'd never actually played center field before
now.
and the boy has never been in AAA, I would say that he's doing great. Still, and he has a 1 WAR. We like that for you. 282 batting average, 331 OBP, 374 slug. Slug is not there yet, but still not in his big boy body yet, okay? Because we're 21, but he's still in that lineup pretty much every day. Like, I wanna say Jackson Churio has taken a couple of days off, like, they've sat him a couple of days, and they have platooned him. Not Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill's gonna face them all. Who is the catcher for the Cardinals now? Is it Herrera?
Yeah, Ivan Herrera, and then our backup is Pedro Pajes.
Is he related to Andy Pajes?
He is,
No?
but it is the same last name, and he made his major league debut about a month ago. And yeah, he made his first start as a major league player in Friday's game, I believe.
Fun, okay. Besides the guys that I mentioned on the get your shit together list, are there any guys that come to your mind, Kelsey, that needs to get their shit together?
Mm, Not off the top of my head. I haven't been. I also like. I'm someone who gives people more leeway for the small sample size. Like to me, I know we're not really in small sample size territory anymore, but we're just getting so that well, pretty much like today's game or yesterday's, depending on like how many games each team has played, we're hitting the 25%, like the quarter of the way through the season. To me, that's the first barrier that we have to get to before I would overanalyze anything, because there is a stretch of 30 games where any guy could have struggles in one way or multiple ways or another. So yeah, I don't know that anyone comes to top of mind other than the entire Cardinals offense, because that's what's front of my mind. And I know as the Astros
Okay.
offense is for you, but I think the I wanted to ask you about like biggest surprises or disappointments so far, because we are getting to that first kind of marker here of a quarter way through the season. What National League team has surprised and delighted you the most?
I would have to say the Milwaukee Brewers, hands up. Again, they traded Corbin Carroll, and then Devin Williams went down, and then literally all of the entire, like, starting pitching staff, you're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, we
I just recognize the one. I just recognize Freddie Peralta.
yeah, us
I don't
Milwaukee are like
yeah,
Brewers, what are you doing? They're under the
I've
white
had.
towel.
Yeah.
That's it.
And no, William Contreras, Wilson's brother. Is Wilson the oldest?
Wilson is older. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Isn't are there 3 or is there just the 2 Contreras brothers?
You. Yeah.
Just the 2, okay, so William being the younger, obviously, has just been our dynamite, and then Christian Yelich has looked like old Christian Yelich. Willie Adames has come on and been super awesome, and that entire young team, minus Jackson Chourio, has been really good, like, surprisingly good for them, like Bryce Terang. Everyone's like, "Who's Bryce Terang?" Their second baseman. Sal Frelick. Did you read that article? I can't remember who it's by, but Pat Murphy basically had said that he wants a team of orange lifesavers.
No.
Did you read that?
No, but I love that.
I'm gonna have to find the link to the story, and I don't remember who wrote it. I'm very sorry about it, but it was a magnificently written story about how Pat Murphy, that was a longtime college baseball coach, and was saying that like during his college like recruiting and stuff, that they would always try and recruit like the most elite people, the most talked about, and he would get sick of them because they would come to the team and be like, "I'm the best. Like I need all the playing time and blah blah blah." Can you get me like a short redheaded left-handed baseball player that nobody else wants?
Yeah.
He's like, "Bring me the orange lifesavers. Like I want all the orange lifesavers." And apparently that player turned out to be Cole Calhoun. That was the
Yeah.
guy, and so that is what he wants. He wants, like, the overlooked and undervalued baseball players that have to work hard at trying to be good at baseball. Like, he doesn't want the guys that everybody knows. He doesn't want the guys that are lauded about. He wants the orange lifesavers because everyone wants the red ones. No one wants the orange ones.
Goes back to our point earlier of, yeah, there's so much of the value in a player is the habits and the things that they have to work through to be as good as they are. And if they don't know how to deal with those challenges and have the work ethic, the level of talent, natural talent that they have will only take them so far.
Yeah. I love this, but I loved that I love the story, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so good." And it is. It's the Milwaukee Brewers. If you're not a Milwaukee Brewers fan, or if you don't have Milwaukee Brewers on your team, fantasy team, you're not gonna know who Sal Frelick is. You're not gonna know who Bryce Terang is. I think I mentioned the 3 guys that if you're not a Milwaukee Brewers fan, you'll recognize their name. William Contreras, their catcher. Willie Adames, their shortstop, who made his name elsewhere, like the Rays and stuff. And then Christian Yelich. You're not gonna know the outfield. I'm like, who is their outfield besides Jackson Chourio? And it depends on the day, if it's like a right-handed pitcher, if it's a left-handed pitcher, and so there's the young guys over there doing great things like Blake Perkins and Sal Frelick and Oliver Dunn. You're like, who are all these people? Tyler Black? Shout out Tyler Black, man. I loved that story. Did you
Yeah.
hear about that story?
Yeah. I think you
I
told
think we
me
talked about it last time. Yeah.
last week. Yeah.
It was cute.
Well, that was awesome.
Su how about for you? No surprise?
I have to agree with you. The Brewers, especially if using the term specifically surprise, because yeah, we definitely did not expect them to be even highly competitive, let alone playing, having one of the best records in baseball consistently since the season has started. I feel like I want to pick the Phillies, but they're not like, I'm not surprised that they're good. Like, obviously,
Right.
they're going to be a contender and they should be a playoff team. But I am pleasantly surprised by how dominant they've been, particularly ahead of the Braves. And that's partially because the Braves aren't playing like the best baseball ever either. But yeah, I like seeing the Phillies on top of the NL East early on in the season. I'll be interested to see if they can hold up the big swift kick of momentum that they have used to get started here.
I was not expecting the Phillies to be on top, like, of the entire NL.
They have the best record in baseball, I believe.
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, hold on. It's not the Dodgers or the Braves, it's the Philadelphia Phillies," and a
Yeah.
little part of me actually really likes that. But apparently, though, they've had the easiest schedule,
Yeah, we
if I
talked.
read that
I
correctly.
mean, they have played a handful of teams that are under 500. They've also played the Braves and the Dodgers already. So
Biggest surprise player for the NL, though, I think I've gotta give it to Shota.
yes,
Shota
that's right.
Imanaga.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. You guys, if you guys have not turned on a Shota Imanaga Cubs start, you've got to. He is we all know Dodgers, obviously, giving Yoshinobu Yamamoto all of the money. Good on you, Cubs, because honestly, it looks like Shota is outperforming Yoshinobu Yamamoto for a fraction of that contract. And the amount of fire and likability he has, like every time he like strikes, like he gets a big strikeout, I just love it. Like after he comes off the mound, and he's so emotive.
Yeah.
And as Asians, you don't really see that a lot. Not gonna lie, emotions are not our cup of tea. But the fact that he is so animated and just so excited, I love it. I love it, and his fastball, I say his fastball, it's not even quote unquote velocity-wise, it's not even that fast. I think it tops out at 92, but that invisible Christian Javier has, his fastball, like, the value of it is at a 9, which is, like, the highest rated fastball. It is insane, and I wanna say he has, like, a barely above a 1 ERA. It is magical watching that man pitch, and you don't expect it. He just looks, like, very unassuming.
Yes, I agree with everything you just said. I cannot agree more. And he is hands down my pick for the biggest surprise. And oh man, it's hard to watch him, especially for yeah,
The
rivals
Cubs.
of yeah, my fandom, especially because yes, they signed him for I think four years, 53 million, which a couple of years
Yes.
ago the Cardinals signed Steven Matz for 4 years, 44 million, which like now it's very close. So when you think about it that way, you're like, wow, yeah, an absolute steal.
Yeah.
And good on the Cubs and their scouting for being able to pick him out and to leverage his stuff because they have won every game that he has pitched in. And that's where I was like, so the Pirates obviously play the Cubs at PNC. They're coming to Wrigley Field later this week, like into the weekend, I think. And if Paul Skeens ends up pitching against Shota Imanaga, if it ends up, I don't think there's any chance of it happening, but it might because the Pirates, I think, are going to a 6-man rotation. I'm like, I don't care what I have to do to get to that game. I will have to be there. We'll
That
see.
would be yeah, I think that would be absolutely amazing. Another, I guess, shout out that I have to give because I wasn't expecting this guy at all, like, Ranger Suarez for the Phillies
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, good one. Yeah.
has also just been lights out, and you're all, "Who? Ranger
Just
Suarez?
left in the
Really?"
shadows because of Aaron
Yeah,
Nola, Zach Wheeler, but he is it. He's right up there with them in terms of the results.
so good. Literally, it is Shota Imanaga with a 1.08 ERA and Ranger Suarez right there with a 1.5. Ranger Suarez may be the best Phillies pitcher, and it's not one of the 2 guys that they gave contract or, like, big contracts to, I say that. So, yeah, like, alright, good on you, Ranger Suarez, like, and the Phillies.
What
Biggest
about yeah.
surprise
Do we wanna stick
biggest
what
surprise for the AL team.
yeah, yeah. Let's do a negative one first, and then we'll circle
Okay,
back because
okay.
we need to balance this out. I don't wanna end on too many disappointments, but I think I know who your biggest disappointment for the AL team is.
Besides the Houston Astros, that yeah,
Yeah.
besides the Houston Astros.
It has to be the Astros, mostly because, like, when you associate with the word disappointment, it's because you are expecting something different, and that's the thing is, like, we weren't expecting the Rockies or the White Sox to be good. We picked you and I think both picked the Astros to win the World Series this year. Yeah, I call that a disappointment.
You know, if we could only score with runners in scoring position, if we could only hit with runners in scoring position, my life would be much
That is how you score. I agree.
yeah, much more drastic of a difference.
Your most disappointing player is probably is it Alex Bregman or they probably because Jose Altuve again, you weren't necessarily expecting him to be.
Jose Abreu.
Oh, it was Jose Abreu. Abreu. I'm sorry, not.
I was like, hold on, different yeah, different Jose. But yeah, no, we were not expecting Jose Abreu to do well, but we were not expecting Jose Abreu to do this. So yeah, no, it probably has got to be Alex Bregman because again, he's never been this bad. It's always been a slow start for him, but he's never been this bad. But just Kyle Tucker just carrying the Astros on his shoulders. And Jared Pena has like surprisingly come off of his sophomore slump and was like, "Hey guys, I'm back. Look what I can do." But yeah, but biggest surprise for the AL team though,
Mhm.
I think it's got to be a tie between the Kansas City Royals pitching staff and the Boston Red Sox pitching staff.
Mm.
I like both of those. Did not see Seth Lugo.
I know. I talked some Seth Lugo shit before the season started, man. Not intently, but I did. I was throwing shade that like that was going to be the kind of pitcher that the Cardinals got, and I'm like, okay, I'll take him.
Right? Like I again with the lowest ERA. I want to say he's the third. I think he's got the lowest ERA in the AL. Sure enough, yeah, he's got a 1.66 ERA. And Cutter Crawford for the Boston Red Sox with a 1.75. Stand up, Boston Red Sox. I talked my shit. I was not expecting the Boston Red Sox to do anything. Like we, known ball knowers, we had faith in the Royals that they were going to be much better than they were. I was not expecting this level of much better, but they are much better. And the Boston Red Sox, Andrew Bailey and Craig Breslow, and then Kyle Bodie of Driveline, they have turned the pitching staff for the Red Sox just on their heads and have done miraculously, miraculously well. So out of the top 10 lowest ERAs, Cutter Crawford is at number 5 with a 1.75, and then Tanner Houck has a 2.24. With all of the and Lucas Giolito going down, like, that being their, like, big signing in the offseason, and then him going down, just shout out Boston. Also, I gotta give out a shout out to my ace of the Houston Astros, Ronel Blanco,
Mhm.
because at no point in time did anyone ever out of the Houston Astros staff of consisting of Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez and Christian Javier, at no point in time was anyone being like, "I'm sorry, Ronel Blanco is gonna be the first one out of your staff to throw a no-hitter and legitimately have half of the wins
Mhm.
for the Houston Astros." Ronel Blanco. That's who I'm that's who I'm saying is probably the biggest surprises out of the AL.
I think the A's have been a pleasant surprise too overall, just that they have it seems like amongst themselves, amongst the team, they have kept the morale high and who knows? I'm not saying that they won't be there by the end of the season ultimately because that they just have a completely different set of circumstances and resources than literally all of the other teams in baseball. But they could be hanging down there in the gutter with the Rockies and the White Sox, and they're not. And they're showing up and playing competitive games more times than not. And that I think has been a surprise for all of baseball. And I don't know, biggest disappointment. I do think it's I guess the biggest disappointment I would say overall for me from the American League has been the guys like Aaron Judge and Alex Bregman. Like there's just a number of guys that you think there's not a question mark around at all. And the fact that there has been, and it's been a little too long to say, oh, it's just a slump.
Yeah.
And
Surprisingly, Corey Seager, not doing great.
I was just
I
gonna say him too, because yeah, he's coming off that sports hernia. So perhaps there's, something
some lingering effects.
back there, yeah. But man, I think if the Yankees weren't playing better overall, can you imagine the Yankees fans would just be tearing Aaron Judge apart if he had the first month of the season that he's had and the Yankees were not playing
Yeah,
well.
no. If Juan Soto wasn't playing out of his frickin' mind right now, I hate Juan Soto. With every fiber of my being, I hate Juan Soto. And I just hate him not as a person because I think he actually is a personality-wise, I think he would probably be a nice guy off the baseball field. I just on the baseball
Yeah,
field, I want to punch him
yeah.
all the time.
Like you love him so hardcore if he's on your team, but you hate him even more hardcore if he's not on your team. I get
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, that I think with the Rangers being not great and as poorly as the Astros have played, we're only 6.5 games back. We are no longer in last place. We were tied for last place for a while. No longer. Angels hold that all by themselves now with 7 games back. And we are looking up at the Oakland Athletics that is 4 games back, I wanna say? 3.5 games back, excuse me. But we start a 4-game series with them
Mm,
starting tonight.
right.
So, it'll be interesting to see which A's team shows up and which Astros team shows up because unlike the Houston Astros, once the 7th hits for the Oakland Athletics and they're up, they have a 14-1 record. If the Oakland Athletics are up 7th inning, 14-1. Not so much with the Astros,
Yeah.
not so much. If I were to tell you at the beginning of the season, one of these teams had a lockdown bullpen and one of these teams did not, and I told you those teams were the Oakland Athletics and the Houston Astros,
Yeah.
that would be reversed.
People would have fixed. Yeah.
That would be reversed. But no, Mason Miller, Lucas Urseg have been like, hold my beer. Watch what I can do. So I don't know.
Another team that I guess it's weird. I have trouble saying they're disappointing because I can't say I really expected more from them, but it's just because they're the Giants. And the Giants, because they did a lot in the offseason. They did enough that it should have really changed the at least like the trajectory of a starting off point for them to already be like they're 19-23. They're 8 games out from the Dodgers. And there's just again that lack of excitement around them, even though they got Jung Lee, who is now going to be out with a left shoulder injury. They got Jorge Soler, who is not back.
Also out.
Who knows when he's coming back? They got Blake Snell, who threw an immaculate inning in his minors rehab start on May 12th. So that's pretty cool, just yesterday. But it sounds like he's going to take a little extra time to stay down there and work his way back up to a more comfortable pitch count too before we'll see him in a major league game. And then Michael Conforto, who was like their consolation signing for Carlos Correa last offseason, is out with a hamstring injury as well. So whether it's just like the pieces not coming together for them again, or the fact that they just ultimately are not the right pieces, like the Giants are also a little like,
Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun. Yeah, it's this entire season has been one confusing who's good, who's bad. I guess that's why you play 162 and that's baseball. There you go. I'm like, that is the worst explanation ever. I'm like, you can't give me like a real explanation of why teams are sucking the way that they are. Nope, that's baseball. Yeah.
baseball
So
times.
baseball sucks. Yeah, baseball does suck. I am working on that. I love baseball slash I hate baseball shirt with the sequins. Working
Mm,
on it.
love
I've
it.
been finding sources for the things. So it's happening, people. It's happening. I'm gonna do all of the pictures and be like, I hate baseball. 2 minutes later, I love baseball.
Absolutely
But
it.
yeah, so standings real quick because I love doing this. In the AL West, if the Seattle Mariners had any sort of offense, they would actually be running away with this and not just a half game up of Texas. So Seattle is 22 and 19, Rangers 22 and 20, half a game back. Oakland 19 and 23, 3.5 games back. Houston Astros 15 and 25, who also started 15 and 25. The 2005 Houston Astros that went on to go to the World Series.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then got swept by the White Sox in 4 games. We shall see. I don't think the White Sox are gonna sweep
Gotta
us
get
again, but maybe. Maybe if they don't bring us Tommy Pham, maybe they will. And then the Angels, 15 and 26, 7 games back. AL East, the Baltimore Orioles. Shout out Orioles. I hope that you run away with this division. On top, 27 and 15 is the Yankees, half a game back. 21 and 19, 5.5 games back. That would be the Boston Red Sox. And it really cracks me up that I'm hearing Boston Red Sox fans like bitch and moan about their third place team and like how much they're sucking. And I'm all, you're third place. You have a winning record. Why are you crying?
and
And
you're about and we thought you would be.
so yeah, I'm like, didn't you guys expect for you guys to suck? I don't know why you're mad. Anyway, Tampa Bay Rays 20 and 21, 7 games back with the Toronto Blue Jays 18 and 22, 8.5 games back. I think the Blue Jays are sneaky, the another AL disappointment. If you're not an Astros fan and just American League, like I think it would be probably have to be the Blue Jays
Yeah.
because they've got all of the big names and they've got the pitching, and so like on paper, you're all this should be
Wow.
better.
It's same thing as last year. Like I really thought everything was gonna align for them and the timing was just right for them to really run away with it last year. And that was underwhelming. Like they weren't bad, but they weren't competitive enough. And this is almost like a step down, even though, yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like they should have taken a step forward.
Yeah. Apparently, they're real mad. They want George Springer not to be the leadoff hitter. They want David Schneider to be the leadoff hitter, and that's like a whole big drama
Mhm.
thing. And I was like, oh. I'm like, it makes sense because one of those players is playing up to par, one of those is not. In the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians, 25 and 16 has the lead. 24-16, half a game back would be the sausage-loving Minnesota Twins. Also, half a game back would be the Kansas City Royals, right there, neck and neck. And the Detroit Tigers, who we just played, are 500, 4.5 games back. And if they got any sort of help in the back end of their position players, they would be scary.
Mhm.
They would be scary because like the top half of their lineup is having to compensate for the bottom half of that lineup. Chicago White Sox, 13 games back, winning 12, 12 of 29. Like I said, just took a series from the Cleveland Guardians, and that's how it starts, people. In the NL, we told you that the Philadelphia Phillies are the best team in the NL right now with a 28 and 13 record. 2.5 games back from them is the Atlanta Braves, so 24 and 13. New York Mets, 19 and 20, 8 games back. And guess who they are tied with? The Washington Nationals.
Well, the Nationals are playing the White Sox at the game I'm going to.
We'll see what happens there. We will see what happens there. The Miami Marlins, I feel so bad for you, Miami Marlins. I'm so sorry. Essentially, they're just auditioning for other teams now. That's what they're having to play for. Because they won 11 games in the year, 17.5 games back. Milwaukee Brewers on top in the NL Central, 24 and 16. Half a game back from them. Chicago Cubs. 6.5 games back from them are the Pittsburgh Pirates, 18 and 23. And the Cincinnati Reds, 7 games back. And the Seattle Cardinals. Seattle Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals.
It couldn't
I
be
have
Louis
I,
Cardinals, but it
that would
is.
be, yeah. St. Louis Cardinals, 8 games back, 16 and 24. The Los Angeles Dodgers take the NL West with a record of 27 and 15. San Diego, 5.5 games back with a 22 and 21 record. The Diamondbacks, 19 and 22, which is 7.5 games back. San Francisco Giants, half a game back from them, and then the Colorado Rockies, who, mind you, just swept the reigning World Series champion, Texas Rangers, 12 and 28. 12 and 28.
It is pretty crazy that
Lucky.
both the Rockies and the White Sox have 12 wins now. So if they had been swept instead of swept, they still would not have double digit wins. So
That's absolutely insane.
yeah,
Absolutely insane. We shall see how this week goes for the Astros. The next 2 weeks is basically make or break time for the Astros. We have in division rivals that will help or hurt. So maybe next time we record, I will be in a either worse mood or a much better mood. We shall see.
every
We
time
shall see. So who are you guys playing?
the Los Angeles Angels
Oh, okay. Maybe y'all can get a couple games. Who knows?
could be
Who knows?
hilariously tragic for one or both teams. We shall see.
Joe Adele maybe will hit all of the home runs.
I want to see it. Reed Detmers pitch, but I don't because they'll probably beat us.
Do you guys have
Tomorrow is Sonny Gray versus Reed Detmers. That'll be so good.
Oh, that is gonna be so good. Do you think Sonny Gray will be a stripper again?
You know what? It seemed like he needed to do it in his last start, and I don't think he did because he had just talked about it. He showed a secret, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I hope it is something that he's done a number of times. He gets off to a slow start, doesn't feel good about where he's at, just needs to restart things. So he goes into the dugout or goes into the clubhouse while the Cardinals are at bat or while his team is at bat. And he will just completely change his clothes, everything, socks, shoes, undies, jockstrap.
The entire thing.
Yeah, just start all over again. And he did that in not his last start, but the start before that. And it boded very well for him. He didn't do it in the last start, or maybe he did. I don't know. He didn't share with us that he did. It did not seem that he did because he could not get it together. Hopefully, I'm just hoping he's back on and he doesn't need to pull any tricks like that.
Fingers crossed. That last start was a little rough. Maybe he's gotta be the stripper again. Who knows? Who knows? But we shall see. Kels, where can the peoples find you on the interwebs?
I am on Twitter at KBirdTweet, KBURD tweets, where I'm tweeting about all the baseballs and covering the Cardinals specifically once a week, as well as covering all of baseball on my Peace, Love, and Baseball podcast. So you find me there on Twitter. You find the link tree. You can always search Peace, Love, and Baseball on YouTube or on wherever you get your podcasts as well. That's where I'm at.
Perfect. Perfect. And with that, we are going to wrap it up and say, hey, baseball. Oh, I'm gonna hit and record. Maybe. Now.